What up? Thank y'all for tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. On it. Today we talking about NBC threatening ADOS to be in love with the Democrats or else type shit. So, I said a month ago that the way to start a conversation about reparations with anybody is to start with the wealth gap. I'm sure y'all remember that. Because everything that undergirds the creation of the wealth gap is going to put racism, white supremacy on blast. And it'll also put their lapdog creation system on blast that they use to bribe all these non-ADOS groups with set-asides that get divvied up from what's owed to us in foundational black society. It'll show those people and processes operating as a system to lock black people out of wealth for generations, and only black people. Okay? Examining the wealth gap will show you America's wealth getting set up so good for non-black people that we needed to fight a revolutionary war. They don't tell you this way in history class, but this is what it was. Enslaved black people, our ancestors, got America so damn paid, America decided to break away from Britain. America said, look, Britain, black people made us so goddamn rich, we don't need you anymore. Motherfucker, let's fight, right? That's what happened. Hold up, I can't do this without doing this. This is very important. What up, Moni? What up, G-Man? Zulia64? What up, Niche? Everybody in the building. What's good? What's happening? While I'm doing that, let me check the ticker here. There y'all go. Okay. So, examining the wealth gap will show you race-based targeting, is my point. It'll show you the race-based targeting to the point to where we needed a motherfucking civil war. Race-based targeting to how we needed a motherfucking civil rights movement that everybody get protection under except black people. And Professor Black Truth, shout out to the OG Professor Black Truth, one of my damn idols on this goddamn shit. He dropped a great post yesterday, kicking the legs from underneath a piece that got put up by NBC, saying how Democrats are proposing all these things to close the racial wealth gap. Basically, taking inventory of all the half-ass efforts that the Democrats have been spouting over the past 4.5 months and trying to make them all seem all good. Like, oh, it ain't that bad. But all of this shit, y'all know we've been surgically dissecting this shit in new black media, and y'all out there too, in y'all's various spaces. And we've been burning the goddamn remains of this shit in black media, right? NBC's trying to put out these ashes, trying to put these ashes together in a piece that they did, trying to first of all act like Democrats even have made a platform around the racialized wealth gap. And I'm saying, nah, nigga, fuck that. You understand? In black media, we gonna take credit for that. Y'all out there, y'all gonna take credit for that, not the damn Democrats. And I see Professor Black Truth point. I mean, nobody has even said anything about the racialized wealth gap in this entire damn campaign except new black media. We the ones surrounding motherfuckers like, yeah, motherfucker, what y'all want to do? What y'all want to do? It's been our faces on social media pushing the shit. It's been us getting banned from social media and different sites from talking about the shit and talking about the figures who have been trying to downplay the reparations conversation. I'm one of them, goddammit. I went on Angela Rye, I guess one too many times on motherfucking Twitter, man. And they came for my shit, you know what I'm saying? I also went in on the LGBT too. Maybe they didn't like that shit too. But whatever. We've been taking the slings and the arrows of this shit. So what y'all got on our wealth gap, that crowd, that's us. You get me? But now they want to fake it up like, oh, we've been talking about race and race-based wealth lockout. Nope. That's why we had to bring it up in the first place, bitch, because y'all wasn't talking about shit. So I want to start this conversation off by saying, let the record show that the Democrats for years ain't brought up no damn closing the racial wealth gap. So it necessitated a conversation starter in the form of new black media to come into existence and to put it out there. And y'all out there too, you know what I'm saying? And we've already damn killed the Democrats on their lack of black agenda. And NBC they basically doing like what I said the Breakfast Club does and did when they got on MSNBC some months ago, and what the vetted diaspora coons do and these immigrant groups that come here doing. They want to be white supremacist society's wound lickers after we come through checking white mommy and daddy for doing some anti-black bullshit, right? And in this case, we've checked white mommy and daddy's little sanctioned faces to be in the politics. These politicians, these ain't people, we didn't build up these people through our lobbyism from the ground up type shit. We ain't do that shit, right? That's what's happening. So the wound lickers and white mommy and daddy see black society and new black media. We on a motherfucking roll. That's what's happening. We already dismantled HR 40. We already caught all the candidates on camera fronting on our bag. All except probably Marianne Williamson. Really offering up soft talk around reparations, or just saying straight up, no, I don't want to give black people reparations, like Bernie Sanders and shit like that. They want to act like we ain't record all of those no's in our brain, and we don't got them on fucking camera from all the Democrats. We got some motherfuckers on camera. That shit happened right on camera in front of the motherfucking world, right? That's basically what they're trying to hide in this NBC article. And what it is NBC being a part of the propaganda arm of white supremacy. They throwing in they bullshit. They putting that white supremacist whip in reverse and circling back around to see what kind of check the Democratic Party has the Negroes under. And is it enough to keep all the candidates, not just Democrats, is it enough to keep all the candidates from all parties safe from our motherfucking commands and our motherfucking wrath, right? That's what it is. NBC playing intermediary in this motherfucking white supremacist media and pushing the propaganda that says, oh, the Democrats, they got it under control. They got the Negroes' needs under control. But we know that couldn't be further from the goddamn truth. And I'm going to get into NBC's history a little bit. Part of NBC framing up the Democrats in this light as some sort of fucking savior to black people, as some kind of benevolent group that's sensitive to our wealth gap, they doing this because y'all out there and us in new black media, I thought they motherfucking asses was over and done with. I thought surely they don't want no more, but okay, they want more. We got to go back for day 2 combat type shit. You know what I'm saying? We got to go for day 2 because they don't get enough with combat on day 1. We got to roll back around and do it. You know what I'm saying? So despite the fact that we already killed old white supremacist media outlets, these old media outlets like NBC and so forth and so on, countless of times. You know what I'm saying? We've already uncovered their lies about black society, all they bullshit. And in this case, their attentiveness to the racial wealth gap issue. That's why new black media had to be created, is out of white lies. And that white supremacist ego over there at NBC is just checking in, telling them, hey, look, we got to save face. New black media is checking the shit out of the Democrats just like they checked the shit out of us before they went on to motherfucking rampage and psyched up the whole world with this new black media shit. God damn, we gotta do something. We gotta know something. We gotta tell somebody. We gotta, you know what I'm saying? So they on some shit like, let's throw off this fluff ass piece to help take the spotlight off of new black media and put it on the Democrats like they some motherfucking heroes. Understand? That's what this is. This is a move of white spite. And the other very obvious part of them, you know, putting the Democrats in this savior spotlight is in the same piece that they threw up that Professor Black was talking about. This is, you know, if y'all seen it, I could put the link up. Where they basically jocking, you know, all these half-assed approaches that Democrats have already been battered the fuck down about when they come around our way, talking about closing a racial wealth gap. All these maneuvers and shit that they putting in this writing, this piece that they are using to say that the Democrats are so damn legit. I mean, this is the same Democrats who run from even mentioning race. Anytime black social media, anytime we get on their ass or black media get in their face and all these interviews, every chance they get, they ducking race. But now all of a sudden they talking about racial wealth gap. Well, what happened in the same article, they chastising black people who they've very strangely and comically and very obscurely named as activists. Peep that motherfucking word, activists, which is simply white supremacist coded language for black people, y'all out there in new black media. They're chastising us in this article, threatening us to tone down the reparations talk. Because the Democrats, they're going to get mad and they're going to start ignoring black people. I'm like, what? This writer for NBC, his name is Benji Surreal. Let me blow his face up real quick. Let me get to this Benji Surreal character. Go with monkey ass. He's a German guy. He's a fucking immigrant. He ain't even from America. His family's immigrants. And at least from my research that I pulled up on him, he's a German dude. His family is German. This writer for NBC, a damn German, he want us, foundational black people that's on the soil here, on the fucking ground out in this motherfucker, he want us in America, who no doubt have helped out his immigrant family behind, and I went into what the Germans have contributed to the slave process too. I've done that on this channel too. But he want for us to make Democrats comfortable as a party when talking about what them and everybody white and anybody else that they could bribe to team up against black society. Y'all know how this shit go. They want us to make them comfortable when talking about what they sat back and allowed to happen to us institutionally. Y'all hear that? The nerve, the ego. Let me see. In his little synopsis in this punk ass article, he's like, let me pull it up. So far, Democrats have shown few signs of concern about a backlash to addressing inequality, but activists, that word, white supremacist coded language, activists know they need to prove candidates can win on their ideas or risk seeing another approach take hold. Talking about activists need to prove that the candidate's gonna be about something, that they gonna do what we say do. Some real fuckery shit he talking, but let me go ahead and go on. Or risk seeing another approach take hold. We hearing the bullshit, right? Some recall watching the party respond to repeated losses in the 1980s with President Bill Clinton's pledge to end welfare as we know it. And he put it in a quote. That's a quote from Bill Clinton, end welfare as we know it. All right, so y'all, this type of shit from NBC. NBC, motherfuckers like the people that are the editors and people that let that shit come off the editing board at NBC, they want us to be a perpetual mammy race. That's it. They just want black people to forever be mammies around this bitch, looking out for everybody, and we just being quiet in the corner somewhere. You understand? That's it. So here it is. They told on their damn self. They try to frame the Democrats as these motherfucking mavericks in the racial wealth gap conversation. But then they found it in their heart, in their little greasy ass, sulfur beaten ass hearts, to turn around and say, now you activists, don't y'all talk about the American descendants of slaves getting reparations too hard and really addressing racial inequality through American descendants of slaves getting reparations. Because the Democrats, they're going to come around and ignore the needs of black people altogether and go run and do something else. You see what I'm saying? So now we know that we are under their skin. You see how now NBC has lifted their own stinking ass skirt on that and showed their contempt toward black society? That's the word Tariq like to use, the contempt. I call it animus, but hey, it's all the same damn heartache. It's all the same motherfucker, you getting on my nerves type shit. It's all the same type of shit, make me want to smack a motherfucker off of that shit, right? It's the same shit, right? They trying to say tone it down and make closing the wealth gap about the shit Democrats like to hear about. Make it about immigrant wealth when you Negroes talk to the Democrats. Well, the immigrants, they not negatively affected by systematic, generational, race-based power plays against their wealth. They get fucking set-asides, goddammit. They want us to tone it down and make closing the wealth gap about intersectionality, I'm sure, and tone it down so we don't make the Democrats mad enough to ignore black people altogether type shit, right? So to that, I say this. It's something that I say from time to time on my channel. Y'all have heard me say this. Motherfucker, please. Motherfucker, die. You understand? That's my motto on my motherfucking channel, homie. I mean, if y'all just caught up a little bit, NBC, and, you know, dug through the ashes of the fucking Democrats as we burnt down their whole Democratic village, if y'all ain't been paying attention to the ruins that we left their ass in over the past 5 months, just peruse through social media. Motherfucking NBC, you know what I mean? You'll see how we got them running scared like a track meet around this bitch. Dig through the bodies of the Democrats that we burnt up in y'all little Democratic village. And what I want y'all to do, yo, if y'all get up on close of one of the bodies, you know what I mean? Get up close up on one of the assholes. Open up one of their assholes. They burnt up assholes. You're going to see an ADOS foot stuck up in that ass. For the exact reason that NBC going to probably be getting this work on social media this week from ADOS. You know what I mean? Straight up. For them being flippant, from them being dismissive and ignoring what we've been beating them over the head with for the past 5 months. So NBC, you're not threatening us with riling up Democrats to press their anti-black button on us and neglect us as a group. They done already did it. They already do it. I mean, it's a white supremacist heirloom in America to neglect black people. And Democrats have already shown us that they want in on that heirloom. Motherfucker, you ain't slick. They've already shown us the neglect. Motherfucking NBC acting like them saying no to ADOS check and closing the wealth gap, and them hemming and hawing about our ADOS bag in real dollar amounts is not the Democrats showing neglect. Dummy, it is. With the exception of Marianne Williamson. I'll leave a room for her because she's the one we could fuck with in terms of who's kicking numbers right now. I know Phil advised he was pushing her campaign. Like she needed a certain number she had to hit donation-wise in order to make it to the little debates and shit coming up. I believe it's June 25th, 26th, around there, or that span of days. And from my research, she was able to get that money up. She just very recently got that money up. So she's going to be able to be at the debates. And I watched a few of her interviews as well. You know, she ain't sounding like no liar. She don't sound like she You know, when people bring up what the fuck need to happen with black folks, she ain't playing. She kicking real numbers with all of her talk. Huh? But, you know, so in that vein, I want to give her a chance. But looking at NBC, trying to hold the Democrats getting angry over our heads because we ain't supporting nobody. I see Money Love say that I donated to her campaign. Nisha Lay say she cool with Oprah the Coon. Okay. She always mentions Sandy Darity. Yeah, we hear that. They think we all coons and love them. Hell no, we black first. Yeah, real life. That's from Nisha Lay. I'm just reading comments. Yeah. But motherfuckers trying to hold the Democrats getting mad over our head because we ain't supporting nobody who not coming to the table with a number that they are willing to put in everybody's face 24/7, nonstop, black first type shit that runs on a black agenda. Or somebody like in the case of Donald Trump that people sleep on, who I keep an eye on him a little more because he's in a position of power right now, right? Like he ain't got to dance and shuffle to get power. And he said, yo, why don't we just pay him? I'm sure we can sit down and negotiate something. That mean a lot coming from a seat of power, right? But NBC think that we sleeping on all the turns this shit is taking, is my point. It shows how out of touch and uninformed NBC is, or rather likes to pretend that they are in media about repairing the black community. They know this is about writing a check to ADOS. You understand? Yet they want to muddy up the ground that we've been covering with all these defeated soldiers, these Democrats who we done defeated around this motherfucker. Before they even got to campaigning hard, we done cleaned they slate up. That's part of the embarrassment that NBC wants to help hide with this article for white supremacist society who will want to run from ADOS reparations type talk, right? They want to hide that we took those Democratic heads as trophies in less than 24 hours of them putting up their little interviews on the Breakfast Club and them getting on Twitter. Whenever they showed up somewhere, we got in that ass, right? On my channel, we even came at NBC. We even went on NBC's motherfucking platform and gave them that work over letting the punk ass Breakfast Club come on and defend Kamala lying about listening to Snoop and Tupac when she was in college and blacking it up on their TV show and all that shit, or they live show or whatever, they radio show. We came out dusting all their asses in less than 24 hours. Y'all remember that shit? Yeah, Zaire, bodies everywhere, real shit. Y'all remember that shit? Kamala, we demolished her whole campaign within less than 4 hours of her showing her bug-eyed horse face on the Breakfast Club. We got at Elizabeth Warren acting like she was a Native American, talking about she gonna help black people. Her black agenda is motherfucking cutting money off of little college loans and shit. I think 40,000, 50,000 off of all the college debt or whatever. Whoa, whoop-de-doo, bitch. Whoop-de-doo, bitch. What about the people that don't go to college, you dummy? We got in her ass. Alexander Ocasio, that's another horse mouth motherfucker, right? Trying to push her unproven, unscientifically proven green emissions bullshit and trying to say reparations belong to Latinos too. We cut our fucking head off too. We got into Andrew Yang with his bullshit. We took his credibility away within an hour as well, trying to act like he closing the wealth gap with this little niche program for college inventors. Dumbass shit, you know what I'm saying? Who else, man? We got at Joe Biden within hours, reminding people that he ain't been shit. Cory Booker and all the little auxiliary niggas, motherfucking Joyanne Reed, Mark Thompson, all these motherfucking people that NBC like and that they let them get on their fucking show. It seems they got their head chopped the fuck off and we hanging their heads on the fucking fence fucking with us around here. That's what it seemed like. You know what I mean? I got mad minds in this motherfucker. That's all right shit. You know, just in case the trolls come. You never know. You never be too prepared. Y'all my tripwire unit. Motherfucker trip the alarm. Y'all know what to do. And I guess NBC thought that we would miss all of that, is what I'm saying. And when the writer was threatening us with this shit, you know what I'm saying? People they call activists, all this shit. Talking about we activists, right? They threatening the community through black media. They basically threatening the black community by way of threatening new black media, in my opinion. Because, you know, we are the faces that, you know, spend the time to really beat their ass. You understand? I don't appreciate that shit. Trying to get at y'all through us. I don't appreciate that shit. But let me pull up I got the picture of the idiot who wrote the piece. Let me, guess it's all good. Who else next? Oh, yeah, we got enough. That's enough. I got a picture gallery that I flipped through, y'all. It just folder for folder. I keep this shit in tow, and I just cycle through the shit whenever I need to grab something. So the Democrats, by way of this article, man, they threatening us to package reparations in a way that the Democrats can sell it. The Democrats that we've already defeated in the midst of the streets. And NBC is threatening us to put a bow around reparations, which is what's going to close the wealth gap once and for all. You know what I'm saying? Put a bow on it so it can travel well with the fucking Democrats. So they can sell it to other groups. Groups who weren't enslaved but benefited for centuries off our black ass backs, off our blood, sweat, and tears, and our torture and rape. And to that I say, fuck you, NBC, CNBC, MSNBC, fuck the editors of that story that let that shit slip past the editing room. You immigrants, you Latinos, you Asians, you poor whites who weren't enslaved, all that shit. All you people who weren't targeted for slavery through imprisonment, weren't targeted for having your economic centers burned down and bombed repeatedly. All y'all know y'all story. We ain't got no kind of obligation to make reparations palatable to y'all. We ain't gotta make that shit go down easy with none of y'all. Nobody, no group, no political party, whoever. I want y'all to know that. We don't owe nobody shit. And I show how everybody owe us on my channel, strictly as an educational courtesy for my people. You know what I mean? But how is the group that's supposedly introducing all the wealth gap closing talk to politics, because that's the false credit that they're trying to give to the Democrats, how is this group that supposedly created the discussion in politics at the same time copping pleas to new black media to calm down what we injecting into the wealth repairing conversation, into the reparations conversation? Motherfucker, if y'all created it, y'all would know how deep the shit go. You know what I'm saying? If y'all the spokespeople, like motherfucking NBC trying to flip it up to be, you know what I mean? Y'all would know that the baby bonds and intersectionalism, all that shit, the Democrats kicking, that ain't what we doing. You would know that. You understand? So NBC ran this piece talking about the Democrats want to close this racial wealth gap shit, putting them out there as some fucking heroes. And I think they doing this, kind of like a panic move in a way. When you think about it, think about the light that NBC has been put in over the few years. You know what I mean? Just many years they've been around. There have been one of the news outlets who've been skirting around the fact that slavery is the root of the wealth gap for years, just like the Democrats. They ain't no different. That's the motherfucking truth. I want y'all to notice something. NBC is the oldest broadcast network in America. They started in the mid-20s or some shit like that. And they ain't never once brought up no damn racial wealth gap in political conversations. I checked. That got ADOS written all over it. And NBC put out this fluff-ass piece falsely rewarding the Democrats all this prestige when all they've been doing is dancing around the edges when it comes to this conversation. And history shows this shit. NBC even has a history of blaming this unrepaired wealth gap. That's what I'm going to call it, the unreparated wealth gap, unrepaired wealth gap on home ownership. Y'all feel me? They have a history of blaming this wealth gap behavior on home ownership in the few instances that they talked about racialized wealth gap. And all the NBC shit I could find that's accessible online. You can get old records, old microfiche shit. All that shit's supposed to pop up. If this been what they about, I would have been able to find all of that shit. Ain't seen not a damn hair nor hide or none of that shit. You understand? And they've made it a ritual to steer the conversation of racialized wealth gap to home ownership away from slavery, like what we talking about in New Black Media, the shit we keeping hot on the press, right? They shifting it away from the money generated from slavery that was expatriated from black society's pockets. Y'all see that? That takes the eye off the ball of white supremacy. That takes the eye off the ball of white supremacist society's code of robbing black people's equity and not giving it back. And the white supremacist code of making policy at all levels of governing to lock out black people out of wealth since 1619. Y'all know the word. Y'all know the story. So after this post, I want y'all to notice this. The same day after they dropped this post, talking about Democrats as the motherfucking heroes. It was about 3:58 in the morning. Same day, no less than probably a little more than 5 hours later. What up, Paraphernalia Pals? I see you, bro. Sad. Less than 6 hours after they dropped this post, giving the Democrats all this false ass, raise the roof ass props, they had one of their go-to Negroes put up a piece about how black people are trying to close the wealth gap using investments and home equity and stocks. Okay? I want y'all to peep the order of events in this shit, okay? So, black people are trying to close the wealth gap using home equity, investments, and stocks. Same day as they did this piece, talking about the Democrats are the heroes. They the ones that got all the plans for closing the wealth gap. And you black motherfuckers need to calm down talking about reparations. You're going to make the Democrats mad. All right? I found that shit very suspicious. And in that whole article, the first article that they did, the one that Professor Black Truth went on, and I noticed and saw it in the article, they did not once mention black people. They ain't once say black people in terms of us being anywhere in the solution of closing this racialized wealth gap. It was always, one of these candidates, one of these clown motherfuckers gonna do something, and then they motherfucking allowed it to dreamland and fan out into helping everybody, helping all minorities, helping all immigrants, helping all other closing. I found that suspicious in parts. But like I said, a little more than 5 hours after, I guess they smelled the smoke that was going to come up from ADOS. And they came up playing this motherfucking narrative of basically in this piece, black folk, we got to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps ass solution. Like that's some kind of Joker card or some sort of Trump card to the racist, white supremacist deployed wealth gap. Is by using home ownership and stocks and like no. And this is something that we talk about. Like I said, that I find it very suspiciously timed that they would throw out black people's home ownership and stocks and savings as a way to wealth, as a way to the wealth. When just last year, CNBC, same outfit that put this out, it was CNBC that came back and did this article with this. They had this brother, right? Y'all would probably like to know that they were talking about shit like home ownership contributes to black people having less money, less credit, and less wealth because our homes are valued lower. We'll get into why later. So within that, us having our homes valued lower because we're black, there's credit inequality, less credit generated, and therefore the credit inequality from our low home ownership equity contributes to the wealth gap. They tried that. I say, okay, all right. Let me pull up some things here for y'all to check out. They want to act like they on the side of the right, and I don't appreciate it. Here we go. That's that boy. His brother's name was Malik Lee that put this up. Okay, this is what came out less than 6 hours after they was talking about Democrats as heroes to everybody black, and they got the solution to close the wealth gap. What that say? Black households trying to close the wealth gap by chasing higher. They putting it on our backs. You see this shit? They even got a black writer to come out last year. Another black writer, right? Last year that put out another article explicitly saying home ownership ain't the way to build wealth. It was a sister that wrote this article. This is all CNBC shit, okay? This is all them. Same NBC telling us now in 2019, since ADOS really ramped up the conversation on reparations to solve the goddamn biggest wealth gap in the history of anywhere, we made it the kitchen table conversation. Same output telling us that we need to just listen to the Democrats and they own the ball and don't talk about a check, talk about home ownership, talk about savings and investments, right? Stuff NBC told us not to do in the past years, they saying now do it. Because it puts you black people in the pull yourself up by your own bootstraps conversation that we in white supremacist society like to use as a damn fallout statement. We like to use that pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's their fallout line. Whenever you start talking about reparations, that's what that is. So ADOS put reparations on the stage so motherfucking hard. Is that y'all? Okay, we up. We put the shit on the stage so hard that NBC had to even go against their own motherfucking articles of the years past and press the white supremacist button. I told y'all about these white-skinned individuals. They got the fucking option to press the white supremacist button that don't nobody else got. And they do so whenever they become mildly anxious about justice being done. Especially justice being done for black people. I brought that up in my post where I was talking about the Hyatt Hotel sending out these social media shills all on social media to apologize to black people for all the racist shit that they had going on at that hotel and how that was just them doing damage control to try to keep a black dollar. But as soon as the profits and shit level out, they back on team white supremacy. You heard me? I heard me say that, right? And white-skinned individuals have the option to play both sides in a white supremacist regime, and they often do. This is what they're doing at NBC. They just pressing their white supremacist button. All the facts that they put out in the past be damned. We white, and we don't want to genuinely repair what white stealing has caused. This is what they on. So back to the article saying that home ownership and investment and all this shit is the way for black people. Of course, like I said, you know, they brought one of the Negroes to come out and flap his cape for him. Let me get to that. There's the article. I'll put a link if y'all want. Like I said, they brought out one of their go-to Negroes. And you know how it go. Anything having to do with race and only race. I mean, these outlets got a way of making sure they go find somebody black digging up a Negro to pull the foolie wing that they want to pull. You know what I mean? And they have us thinking, hey, somebody black wrote it, so NBC must care about black people. That's the damn Jedi mind trick. They found somebody black like me that relate to black people. Don't fall for that shit. But here in the article, some of the things he was talking about, this Malik Lee character, It's just things that I've already touched on. Black folk need to save more, need to invest more, need to get a home. All right, but what? We saving more, but we already know from the facts presented by Sandy Darity, Antonio Moore, so forth and so on, that black folk, we save more than everybody. We save more than white people. But they save more in shit like pensions, and white people make more. They make more money. So they get to contribute more to shit like that. Plus we have less to save. All that invest more, motherfucker. No, we can't just invest more if we don't have more to invest. We can't just get a home if we can't buy a fucking home. You know what I'm saying? Like, using home equity is not a way to the wealth if we not already in a position to buy the home and do shit like that. These are things basically that are proven not to be ways to close the wealth gap. But CNBC is putting it up like it is anyway. All right. Now, I don't blame our brother Malik Lee. You know what I mean? From the way he was writing in his piece or whatever, he sounds very unsuspecting of what the earlier piece was from NBC that they did no less than 6 hours before. And you know how that go with the writers of these various magazines, and I'm calling magazines. You tell I'm a fucking 80s baby like a motherfucker. These various media outlets. Brother probably just got a call and he was just so happy to get a fucking call from NBC to write. It's like, all right, a lot of these black writers, they don't get probably about one or two articles a year that they get to write for these major outlets. So I'm guessing he just, offered what he could. I went to his financial company site. He's a financial guy, this Malik Lee guy. And he seemed like a brother just trying to run a business and shit. I don't think he saw himself as a relief pitcher, God damn it, and helping flush lamestream media with an adverse narrative about reparation using wealth gap as the buzzword, kind of throwing that in with the article. And again, just playing up the downplaying of reparations kind of talk, right? Using that as a buzzword, and then he ain't know black folk. Oh, I'm just writing an article about what black folk can do for self type shit. Yeah, but the conversation goes bigger than that. It covers more ground than just do for self type shit, right? And the wealth gap, that was the wrong buzzword to throw into your article, Malik Lee, if you're watching. It's the wrong buzzword to throw in your article and then talk about those penny ante pittances that you suggested. All right? But NBC did this shit right after they posted a narrative about the Democrats having interest in closing the fucking racial wealth gap. But in the same article, they threatening black society, don't talk about reparations to the Democrats. I don't think he saw all of that, is what I'm saying. I don't think he understood he was being used as a motherfucking pawn to further the nigga stop talking about reparations. Look at these fake ass solutions that black people don't even like came up with conversation. I don't think he knew he was a part of that, because that's the last motherfucking article that they put out from their station, they NBC outlet. And all that shit, the idea that we should get some stocks, the home ownership narrative, that's always been a fake ass solution, even by NBC standards. You understand? All of that shit. It's a false solution. It's a group of false solutions to fixing white stealing ancestral and institutional wealth from black society nonstop and without consequence of them getting killed and meeting death, basically, is what we're looking at. All right? And I want y'all to pay close attention to what gets sold to the NBC audience out of this, especially the non-black audience. A non-black audience going to come across the article that Malik Lee wrote, and they're going to see the narrative of black folk need to invest, black folk need home ownership, black folk need saving to close the racialized wealth gap, and that black people are using their homes and their stocks and savings to do so. Oh, well, there's nothing to worry about here. No skin off my back. Those niggers got it under control. That's programming benign neglect into society about black people. And I always say, nah, y'all motherfuckers owe on this motherfucking bag. And if y'all read the 67-page wealth document, the wealth myth document written by Antonio Morsani-Derry, this is one of the myths that get broken down. It talks about how savings is not a driver of wealth. It talks about fucking home ownership. It's not a driver of wealth. I'm sick and tired of these outlets, just like NBC, talking about home ownership and shit. Like that's the untapped solution to racialized wealth gap and to closing the wealth gap. Motherfucker, wealth drives wealth. And having money to buy a home in the first place is the way to that kind of wealth that can close this kind of gap with home ownership. You know what I mean? And we know black homes are valued lower due to racialized policies, starting with the FHA. We talk about that on this channel. NBC don't want to get deep on that. They want to hit you with the buzzwords of savings and home ownership shit. But frankly, you know, when non-black people come across these articles that gloss over home ownership being superficial, in a lot of ways, in a lot of cases, I want y'all to notice that. These other groups kind of humdrum their way through reading this shit because it's not taught in the schools about the atrocity that comes with black home ownership in the past or in the present. Home ownership don't register to non-black people by and large as having a predatory, racialized element to it. These onlooking groups, you know what I'm saying? It don't register like that to them like it registered to us. So NBC is able to pull a fast one over on their audiences who don't tune in to new black media like us and get the real dirt on the shit. You understand? So watch that. The low property values that black folk got all these years and we get, it comes from white supremacist policy in the federal government with the FHA, overtly denying mortgages based on race, federally institutionalizing a racial hierarchy in lending and evaluating neighborhoods, all that shit. It gave banks the license to just give out loans by race. That's white people getting the loans and black people not. Anything that what we talking about? Home ownership, NBC, and all you motherfuckers that think that shit is a talking point, all right? But then want to tiptoe around the white supremacist federal government that we have and been having that didn't correct its racialized attacks on our home ownership, marking down the property value, the redlining, the marketing black homes and black neighborhoods as unfavorable mortgage zones and shit like that. And yo, even if black people live too close to white people, this might be something that y'all know about. Anybody out there in Detroit? In Detroit, there was a time that black people even lived too far out of the inner city and lived a little too close to white people in certain areas. Like, I think they said like the 8 Mile zone and all of that. You know what I'm saying? If they lived too close to white people, they didn't want black people to get the benefits of the higher property values of white people. You understand? So they would actually go out and build up concrete walls. They would build big ass walls where black people live and where white people live to separate the shit once black people got too close. You understand? And then the FHA appraisers, they would come out again and reappraise the white side and give them the better value on a home. This is federally deployed disenfranchisement in black neighborhoods. I've talked about this before in my Andrew Yang video, systematically disinvesting in black communities. That's been America's problem in every goddamn predominantly black neighborhood, predominantly black city, all that shit. But understand, the black home equity issue comes from a federal act that gave white people homes and then doubled back around and gave them rising value in those homes and gave it to them Shit's for cheap. They got the home for cheap. And then they came back around and gave them rising value in the shit. Don't let white supremacist society throw our low home ownership in our faces or our low property values in black neighborhoods as the driver of the American wealth gap. It's the biggest wealth gap in the history of motherfucking humanity. And you telling me it's all about a damn house and pour money into the stock market and motherfucker, people think we dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. Not hearing it. Not having it. Not with it. If anybody, any news outlet, any person talking about this nation's wealth gap and they ain't touching on white people robbing black people, then using what they rob from us to bribe other groups so they can stay subordinate because they get this misappropriated funding from black people through white people. If anybody you meet ain't talking about the wealth gap on those very racialized lines and talking about the divvy up, goddammit, the divvy up that should be in our pockets, they asses ain't on shit. White people stole from black people, and then they racially targeted us in policy and practice with the FHA, shit like that, to keep the home owning market and the whole game surrounding that in favor of whiteness, right? They target us with Joe Biden's laws to keep incarceration rates in favor of whiteness. God damn it. They target us with laws to keep these immigrant groups in favor of whiteness. All of that together is just widening the social gap in favor of whiteness. And where the social gap go, the economic gap go. You understand? That's why we got a wealth gap. And while whiteness is divvying up set-asides to all non-black groups, these other groups is happy to keep the wealth gap in place just how the fuck it is. As long as they not on the bottom. As long as black folk are on the bottom. They willing to push false narratives and push false solutions like the shit NBC talking about in terms of the wealth gap closing. As long as them Negroes is getting the worst of things and they get their little secure subordinate position in society that's not quite as bad as black people. You see? That's what they in it for. As long as we have it worse. Wealth-wise and with everything else. They'll dismiss the racialized wealth gap and they'll look for an excuse in a fucking piece like NBC, the shit they put up with the boy Malik. They'll look for any minuscule excuse to act like, oh yeah, it's on y'all niggas, right? Because we already know, these other groups, white immigrants, Asians, all these people, look, they come here vetted and ready to play anti-blackness like they do in their home countries. We know this. India, China, Spain, fucking Portugal, Italy, the UK, Germany, Nigeria, Ghana. Let's keep it real. These are goddamn anti-black places. Motherfucker, that's what need to be said. Anti-ADOS places. Keep that shit for real. And the system that bribed people to do in favor of whiteness is what poisons people to ignore what white supremacist society keep in place to fuck up black people and to fuck up our wealth. That's the system that need to be killed. And it's not on black people to fix it like Malik Lee kicking in this CNBC article. You understand? Motherfucking Wall Street Journal got it right. God damn it, NBC, y'all got to run for y'all money fucking with Wall Street Journal. They got this shit right. They just came out and told the real. They was like, man, this going to take 228 years for the black families in America to amass the wealth of white families. They kept it real. That type of gap, we ain't create that and make a running system to maintain that. You understand? So that's why it's up for all of those who benefit and maintain it and try to brush it under a rug like that shit didn't make the wealth gap. It's on them to uncreate it and to unsustain it. So we always got to challenge that. And the pathways these non-black groups use, like home equity and business building and all this shit, they come up out of the white supremacist divvy up pool, and they are simply not going to be a fix-all for us. These methods that comes from the divvy up game. I don't let nobody tell me that shit gonna be a fix-all. You know? The document that Tone and Sandy Darity and Ann Price wrote on, man, it goes into business building and shit like that. How that's not gonna be the way to close the wealth gap. Our businesses make too little money to even match. You know, Walmart, one damn company, Walmart make more money in 1 year than the top 5 black businesses combined. In 1 year. Walmart hires goddamn millions of more people than the top 100 black businesses combined. You see, people in groups keep looking for ways around addressing black being set back without using somebody else who ain't black money. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying we've been set back by motherfuckers that ain't us. And that is the issue. That's basically policy around this bitch. So these motherfuckers old, and it ain't no joke. And ADOS, we ain't finna stop pressing motherfuckers. We're not letting some diversionary pieces on CNBC and NBC. We're not gonna let that shit switch our gears off as they try to divert to these carcasses known as the Democrats that we done already chopped their bodies up. We ain't gonna let no crap like that have us giving any credibility to lamestream media and the political conversation, to Elizabeth Warren or whoever the fuck, to anybody, nobody. Nobody that ain't put in this ADOS work. Nobody that don't got that bloodline flowing through their veins. Nobody who's not towing the line for our $1 trillion reparations that need to come out of this institution. Having a house ain't shit. That's saying we need to look at what we doing. And black folk is bad type shit. That's almost as bad as black folk is bad talk to me. You understand? Master, what's wrong with black folk? They can't use their house to close off the national black wealth gap that you started for them, Master? Like, nah, I ain't with it. So, let me go through the comments. I know I've been on the road a little bit, trying to get my few points into the world. Word game, just another smoke screen. Say paraphernalia palace too. Nisha LA say, yeah, they sprout the same nonsense over and over. Yeah. Naturally, Al say she need to overcome another hurdle. She need to poll at least 1% before the debate stage. You talking about Marianne Williamson? Yeah, she's motherfucking lasted and last in the fucking polls. That's what's really hurting her right now. Is that, her ranking is just lower than the lowest. That's what's hurting her. You understand? So yeah, that is a reality. Naturally out. But look, black folk, we 15% of the population. We ain't 12, we ain't 13. Don't let nobody lie to you. We 15% of the population. If we even pulled a move like that to look, let's just throw our vote away on Marianne Williamson on some real shit, right? Like to make the point stick, right? Motherfucker, here we go. That's what we gonna do. Understand? Give a damn where she poll. It's principle when you look at it. So we're going to be watching this. She's going to be in the debate sooner than later. We're going to see what happens 25th, 26th next month. We're going to see what don't happen. G-Man 64. G-Man Junior 64. My bad, bro. What up with you, man? He say, ADOS men have already been determined to be the biggest threat to white supremacy, so we have to be ready. Yeah, we do that, nigga. We do that. Who in here? Good evening, fam. Everybody shouting out everybody. Lovely Darkness, what's good, Miss Lady? What's good, if you still in the chat. So, yo. This was very interesting. I want to bring up one last point. I almost forgot. If y'all can see the thumbnail for this particular video, you'll see a snapshot of NBC talking to somebody. Let me explain who that dude talking to. Alright, so this was a very interesting thing that I came across. You know, we talk about this document that was written by Sandy Darity and Antonio Moore at Duke University, all these Duke University heads, about closing the racial wealth gap and the myths of black wealth and how a check is going to be what closes the gap, right? A day after they wrote this piece, the same line of thought, NBC is still trying to ride it and see what they can get out of it, what kind of currency they can get out of it, right? The same thought space about closing a wealth gap, shit that they ain't talked about in years. I only pulled up 2 articles. They've been in business since 1926. Motherfucker, tell me what that looked like, huh? But a day after they wrote this piece, falsely representing that the Democrats are concerned about racialized black wealth lockout, the shit that we outed their ass about and showed them that, nah, y'all on that bull fuck. They went and found a sister by the name of Ann Price. Ann Price is a sister who worked on the infamous paper with Sandy Darity and Antonio Moore called What We Get Wrong About Closing the Racialized Wealth Gap. That everybody in the ADOS community, look, I've told y'all to read it. If y'all don't read it, cool. Come here and I can give y'all what y'all need to know about it. But yeah, that shit is good ass reading. You know what I'm saying? But they went and found this sister, right? Let me get to this. All right, that's Ann Price. She worked on that document with Tone. She worked on that document with Sandy Darity, breaking down the numbers. You're and this is what NBC should have started their political conversation off with yesterday. You know what I mean? They should have started that shit off with this interview that they did with our sister Ann Price. And they should have started with the facts that was in that document that she was kicking. You know what I mean? And like I said, that shit is on fire. Y'all read that shit. It's 67 pages. It'll give you a real perspective on wealth. But now I'm looking at NBC like, okay, now y'all scared. Now y'all running and ducking. Now y'all trying to cover y'all tracks on this ADOS conversation. So y'all went and found a woman who worked on the racial wealth gap closing document. And they all in the interview pulling up the charts that's in the document. So they know what the fuck we kicking for real over there at NBC. They just want to be spiteful as white supremacists. Again, showing why we had to crush them as a media outlet and start up our own shit in new black media. It's why they motherfuckers can't be trusted. Straight the fuck real. But they went and found this woman who worked on this piece, right? And all throughout the whole time, the whole interview, they ain't shout out ADOS. They ain't shout out Tone. They ain't shout out Yvette. Okay? Okay? And Ann Price, you know what I mean? She went up there and kept the shit real. She kept it cool, kept it cold, kept it cordial. I mean, she didn't go in on the history of new black media, laying into the Democrats like I kind of wanted her to do, but she played it cool. We'll just say that. And, you know, she definitely jumped on the college degree myth to wealth, right? She jumped on that rising tide lifts all boats shit. So right out the gate, she's shooting down the bullshit. Let me see, man. Y'all want me to play the video? It's a little short, little snippet of video. I really don't like playing videos on this motherfucking live and shit, because it'll get slow as a fuck sometimes. But I don't know. Y'all might, I think y'all will still be able to hear it if the audio don't sync with the mouth and the shit start looking like a karate flick on y'all. I mean, That's motherfucking YouTube buffering on niggas, man, or whatever. But you want me to pull it up? Let me get to it. Let me get to it real fast, right fast. All right, I think we got it here. All right, that's our sister Ann Price. Look, 1 second. We found a place in the space where the dude got to the convo. Paul, we trying to hear. Let me just see where we at.
That all people become
okay, here we go.
A major systemic economic issue for us. I want to take a closer look with Ann Price. She's the president of the Insight Center, a national research and economic justice organization that works to ensure that all people become and remain economically secure. And this is structural. I'm not sure. I think the 2020 candidates mostly have their hearts in the right place, but structurally, black inequality in wealth exists because of historical structures which have not allowed them to build the same wealth that white families have built.
That's exactly right.
Skip like a hoe, so I hate YouTube.
I think what's really exciting and what we're seeing from the candidates this year is the fact that they're confronting two major
God damn it, y'all. Two major
issues. One, they're moving away from this rising tide lifts all boats kind of policy approach that largely focused on class and did not really account for racial discrimination and segregation. And also, they're really countering a narrative
God damn it, YouTube.
That you can just simply pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you'll achieve economic success. So they're really addressing the deeper structural issues that have really situated, particularly Black and Latino families
all right, y'all.
Having almost $150,000 less in wealth than typical white families.
Why do you say in a study that you co-authored, you've listed a lot of myths about the wealth gap, and a lot of them I understand, but one of them is that greater educational attainment or more work, well, I know you're saying more work effort is not the issue, but why not educational attainment and home ownership? Why are you saying that that's not part of the answer?
Well, I think, we've long thought that if people simply get a college degree, that we could actually equalize opportunity. And basically, our research doesn't bear that out. That in fact, a white family, where the head has dropped out of high school, has less wealth than a Black family who has a college degree. It's very counterintuitive to what we think would actually be a solution to addressing the kind of disparities we see today. So education, while it can help lift families up, certainly doesn't go far enough to address this large disparity in wealth.
What if you could raise a magic wand and change something structural, right? Not a bond or a payment. What is the structural thing that can have the greatest difference on closing the gap between Black families and white families in America?
Here's bullshit, right?
Well, Ali, we're always looking for a silver bullet and a magic solution. And there just isn't one solution that will actually get us there. We need a myriad of policies that really address deep-seated and long-standing, enduring racism and discrimination in this country. So, yes, we have to focus on housing discrimination and jobs. And also look at things like mass incarceration and how they've actually, how that's actually had a big impact on people's ability to build wealth. So there's not really one solution, and I think that's why you're seeing such diversity of solutions from the candidates this year.
So you're generally positive on the idea that there is diversity of solutions at least being discussed?
Yes. There are a number of really great solutions being discussed. And I think it really reflects years of work in the field where people have really been really thinking through what can actually make the biggest difference in terms of wealth inequality today.
All right, so I guess that's what it is. Let me get to the screen here again, y'all. All right. So that's Ann Price, y'all. All right. She's the one who helped Tone write this document. And Sandy Derry pulled this document off. Now, a few things I want to say. Y'all heard how this guy from NBC, I think his name is Ali Belshi. So he's an Indian, straight up and the fuck down. He's not ADOS, right? So when I do my post ADOS versus Indians, you'll see why I already know they come to be Uncle Toms. They come to be the Sambos when they come over here. They just trying to catch the divvy up wave like all these other groups. It ain't no mystery. The shit don't change and the shit don't stop and the shit don't quit, right? But y'all heard the dude sitting up talking about, so what other ways besides money, besides a check, would be used to close the racial wealth gap, could be used? And the answer that was given by our sister Ann Price, she went right into tangibles. That's code. When somebody asks you that shit, you go right into code and you start saying tangibles. All that is a list of tangibles, all the things she was talking about, the housing and all the extra shit. That's what that shit mean. When you talking to an ADOS motherfucker and we on code, that's what we gonna spout to you. So get ready. Get ready. But I wanted to point that out. But you saw how he kept trying to, kind of feign like he just, this closing the racial wealth gap thing. It's just such a big thing. It's so massive and everybody's trying to, you see, it's a part of making the picture of ADOS reparations look more intimidating than what it is. When you got 18 motherfuckers that's Democrats, all of them got different things to try to, all of that shit, it's a part of monsterizing what the goal is to be tackled, repairing a racialized wealth gap. It ain't hard. Motherfuckers trip, but the shit ain't hard. Y'all on my screen? Okay. Yeah. Money Love say, yeah, not a bond or a payment. I heard is that, yeah, real life. So I want y'all to just peep how they are framing in white supremacist media this conversation. The fact that we're on their ass like this, they had to come to where we at. They had to come to ADOS society at some point. We done got under their skin so hard, they couldn't just bring Tone out in the bitch and be like, motherfucker, what a bag, bitch. I mean, but look, all those graphs that they pulled up on the screen, those came from the document, the 67-page document, breaking down the wealth myths and so forth and so on, the closing the wealth gap myth, right? So they fucking with what the fuck we saying. It ain't no mystery. They know who the fuck we G. It ain't no mystery. You understand? So with all of this shit going on, we seeing that they want to bring up all kind of jambalaya to the reparative conversation. They putting out hit pieces. They don't know if they want to do a hit piece. They don't know if they want to say we good. You know what I'm saying? They do so much shit. They bringing up all kind of jambalaya into the reparative conversation. But they fucked up because they didn't waste no time coming out shitting on black society first. Recognize that, all right? They want to bring all kind of this and that to the reparations conversation, but not until they came out shitting on us, telling us we don't need to talk about no bag. You see? Y'all see the bullshit? I want to bring up all kind of jambalaya around the reparation conversation, get everybody negative opinion on it, never putting a positive opinion on it in their network about reparations. Yet They want to spin around and defend Kamala Harris, who ADOS ain't fucking with, when they did that piece and bring in the coon-ass Breakfast Club on their show to defend her bullshit, you see? So we watching NBC. We watching them on their bullshit. We've called them out for tap dancing around the meat at what's at the kitchen table of what we on, and we're going to keep pressing their ass, you understand? So I want y'all to just notice these things. They put up a motherfucking fluff piece lionizing the fucking Democrats, who, as I've mentioned, black society has discarded. They put out this fluff piece lionizing the Democrats for them dancing around the edges with addressing the racialized wealth gap. They have a history of blaming the unrepaired wealth gap, that's what we're going to call it, blaming it on home ownership and credit and not saving and all this bullshit, and not slavery. On their network, they made it a fucking ritual to steer the conversation of racialized wealth gap to all kind of shit, all away from the money that we've been generating as a group of people. They want to do all of this shit, right? And play games. But okay, just know, I did this post today. You know, it's one of my longer posts. I did this today just because I wanted for us to have it on our mind that, look, we on their ass so hard that they don't even know which way to go with it. They don't know what the fuck to do with us. You know what I mean? They don't know what to fucking do with us. They really tiptoeing. And they run around like chickens with their head cut off. They don't know if they want to slander us. They don't know if they want to, because they don't know what to do with us. They don't know what to do with this thought lineage. You understand? But it ain't shit you can do. Just open up that checkbook, cut something. Really? So, you know, I'm going to stay on it on my channel, man. I just want y'all to get this notion of what the fuck these major outlets that we've already called out year after year for their biased reporting, for their supporting racist white supremacists who target black people, downplaying, soft-playing white animals out in the street, non-black offenders of black society, all this type of shit. This is the same motherfucker spinning around trying to see what the fuck we up to. Motherfucker, we grown. We all grown the fuck up. And they ain't got shit to offer us that's substantial. All they can think of is slander and half-ass motherfucker. They going out and finding motherfuckers we done beat the fuck up, asking them what the fuck we should be getting, is what it is. If you whoop a motherfucker ass in the street, you think it would be a good idea to have somebody always go to them and ask them what kind of person you were? They gonna say, man, this motherfucker whooped my ass every time he seen me, man. I ain't like this motherfucker. He whooped my ass every time he seen me. All right? I mean, it's that type of shit we're dealing with these media outlets. This is my second time going on NBC. You know, I'm an Aries, man. I don't like repeating myself, man. But I do, because fuck it. This is what this media thing is about. This is what this new black media shit is about. I get it. I've kind of got over that. I told y'all this whole process is about me just, you know, keeping certain things cold, and y'all growing with me. Y'all growing with your boy, you know what I mean? I couldn't resist going on their ass again after they did the little flip bullshit ass piece on the Democrats, and then try to double back and try to sprinkle kitty litter on all the dirt they've been shitting out. I'm like, nah, let's knock all that kitty litter out. Let's see the shit what y'all doing, you know what I mean? Let's look into that shit. Let's look at y'all history. This is what we kicking on my channel, PDGAF. P don't give a fuck, P do give a fuck, depending on what the fuck going on. But yeah, I ain't even went through the comments, man. Let me get back. I mean, I like to shout out to a few people, the faces, the new faces, whatever, whoever in the spot. Leonard Day Yuta, what's up, bro? Sap. Called tighten the belt, discipline, told discipline. Yeah, they sure do need discipline. Is it real? They sure do need discipline. These people that's going to be knocking off this bag, bringing this bag our way. Hell the fuck yeah. They need to know how to do it. They know how to save. They save more than everybody else. So yeah, they got enough to dig from. Yeah, it's the real shit. Monetarily, they got more grip. Yeah, so it's cool. It's what the fuck they need to be on. Real life, is it real? So let's see what we talking about. Yeah, all right, so that's that. Y'all don't forget to subscribe to my channel if y'all ain't subscribed. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. So you know when your boy dropping the shit. And don't forget to check out my Teespring, yo. That shit up there in the motherfucking viewer chat. Hold up, with this side, it's up in the viewer chat, up in that bitch, huh? Let me get it, y'all.